I have decided to pay the classroom because it's verifiable, I just have to live with that. And it was not unusual for them to use one number for all dispensaries, one number for all classrooms. And there are places where we even questioned and said, yeah, this thing is physically verifiable, but the amount being quoted does not really make sense. So the ones that we thought the cost was reasonable in light of the scenario we were facing are the ones that we decided to include in what is payable. So it was usual in that regime to say 10 dispensaries, each at 3.8. As you say, the procurement process, if done objectively, should have had certain differences. But here you are. You have the classroom, you are seeing it. And by the way, in certain cases, Senator, for you to understand this, there are cases where the public have threatened to close the classroom. There are others where they've gone to court and the court asked us to pay. And this is why I want to improve that list with a lot more details, not to disown it, as Secretary says, but provide more details as to those things. Yeah.
Okay, Senator Sifuna, hopefully you are giving us a way forward.
Before we depart from that note 17, I'm just wondering if there's another audit query there. But Governor, what is that item number 2 there? Or under use of goods? Yeah. Yeah, what is that? At note 17 of the financials.
That ought to be property, plant, and equipment.
No, I think I want him to tell us, Chair.
Yeah,
because
Governor?
you know we have discovered that words mean differently to different people.
Yeah, Governor? Actually, why can't it be? What was that thing used during COVID?
That's why I want him to be the one to say it, Chair.
Yeah, so I withdraw my definition. Let's get the Governor's definition of that PPE.
Note 17.
Governor, you are the CEO, and you had the notes before you. I just want to know what it means. The financials. Or the financials. Oh. It's on page 26, officer. There's an item there for 2,179,000,000. Yes. What is that second? It's page 26, note number 17.
Nobody knows what this is.
So I think that PPE, Senator, is property, plant, and equipment. So it's 2.179 billion.
How is it? It wasn't in the previous statement.
Thank you, Chair. The reporting template for the 2024-2025 and allowed the first-time adopters of the accrual to take some advantage. But they
Auditor, go straight to the issue.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying
the 2.17 billion that Senator Sifuna is saying was zero prior year.
So
is it part of the 1.3 that you're saying was not disclosed?
It is not.
Okay, so where is it coming from?
It is not for the, I think for the
Chair.
And Auditor, remember you are not the preparer of this financial statement, so you can just comment on matters of standards, rather than the completeness of numbers.
Chair, the 1.3 actually, because that note on payables is everything, whether historical or recurrent. So the 1.3 is indeed part of that.
Yeah. So, Auditor, I think let's leave it there because we'll start contradicting ourselves. So it's part of that 1.3 that the auditor said was not disclosed. And Senator Sifuna, you asked whether there were other audit queries on that note. Indeed, there is one. Let's go straight to it. Then we will give general recommendations on trade payables. unremitted statutory and employee benefit deductions.
Chair, maybe with your indulgence, you didn't give direction on 1.3 billion.
No,
because,
since it's all part of Note 17,
yes,
we look at the statutory deductions.
Then you rule on the same.
Then we give a global advice. Auditor General, you could read your finding on pension, statutory and employees benefits deductions, a figure of 732 million, which is included in Note 17. It's under the report on lawfulness, and in the original certificate, it's issue number 6, unremitted statutory and employee benefit deductions. And if you go back to Note 17, you'll see the social security benefits and employee payables.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Unremitted statutory and employees benefits deductions. The statement of financial position reflects trade and other payables balance of KSh1.3 billion, 586,603,121, and as disclosed in Note 17 to the financial statement, including the balance is an amount of KSh732,615,329 in respect of unremitted statutory deductions to the National Social Security Fund and employees' contribution to local authorities, pension trusts, and local authorities' provident fund, some dating back to 2014-2015 financial year as detailed below. So you have the table there. This is contrary to section 19.
Harry, it's important just to read the components and the amounts. Okay. It's not too long.
Okay, you have the component and the amount. First, the component is basic salary, civil service. This is, I think it belongs to SACCOS of 75,778,665. Then you have employer contribution to staff pension scheme of 535,904,297. Then we have employer contributions to National Social Security Fund of 7,650,480. Then we have graduate civil servants, 113,281,987. Thank you, Chair. This was contrary to Section 19, Subsection 4 of Parliamentary Act Cap 226, which states that an employer who deducts an amount from an employee's remuneration shall pay the amount so deducted in accordance with the term period and other requirements specified in the law, agreement, court order, or arbitration as the case may be. Thank you, Chair.
Governor?
Chair, the county government.
Just because we have jumped a few issues, just point us to the page where you're reading your response from.
Page 23.
24. Page 23.
24.
24 or 23? Okay, okay. Yeah, you're right.
Different pages. Mr. Chairman, the county government encountered disagreements with the pension schemes regarding interest and penalties.
Sorry, Governor. That's page 25.
Yeah.
Page 25.
Yeah, it says 24 on mine, but
25?
Yes.
Okay, proceed.
The county government encountered disagreements with the pension schemes regarding interest and penalties, where the penalties were multiple times higher than the principal amounts. The county continues to engage with the relevant authorities to resolve this dispute in a fair and compliant manner. Due to KRA, and also 7.6 million for NSF contributions will be paid in the next month. Chair, let me explain this a bit.
Yeah, because I want us to deal with this matter comprehensively, beyond your written response.
Yes. Chair, all this, first of all, relates to the period 18 to 2022.
Even though the auditor says from 2014, 2015, when you are the first governor of Wajir.
If there's any amount relating to that, I want it.
But just proceed. Just proceed. Yeah.
These payables relate to 25 months of pensions and gratuities not paid under the period 18 to 22. And it's with LAP Trust and LAP Fund. Now, what both schemes did, and it's part of the disagreement we had, they waited to just before the elections to go to court. They allowed the previous regime to get away with it, and just went to court just before. And so by the time we came in, the matter was in court. We agreed on a few things. We agreed, number one, that we will pay our, because these are space in our budget to deal with this at one time. Chair, I'm hoping we've advanced quite a lot with CPF, that we'll have an agreement with them in the next 2 weeks, which includes some waiver of some of the penalties. So that then, even as we speak now, I think we have about 70 million shillings that we budgeted for this year to reduce this amount before 30th of June. And then next year we'll provide a bit more. But Chair, to contextualize this, all this money was actually released by the controller of budget, and it was deducted from the employees, but never remitted. I do understand that government is in perpetuity, but the financial architecture of counties is such that money is released monthly. So when the money released in a given month is not appropriated for what it was released for, then it constitutes a crisis on the system. When it's not done for 24 months, for 25 months, then it creates a hole. And this is why we've had discussions with Treasury, CS level, together with the pension schemes, because it's not a problem only for us. And I keep reminding even governors as COG chair that this should be happening on our watch now, if there's any governor that's doing this on our watch now. To deal with this historical, because it might not be possible to absorb this in one fiscal, to come with an arrangement where Treasury gives some bonds, for instance, to these pension schemes, especially the ones that can't, for instance, give assets. Nairobi might be able to give land, for instance, which is valuable. Mombasa might be able to give land. And then that is amortized over time from the equitable share. Because it's impossible for me to pay $1.5 billion or $1.6 billion in statutory payables only within my term. Because I'm already struggling with my payroll costs. We're opening up new hospitals, we're recruiting new people. The increase in equitable share, you understand what it is. So especially for counties that do not generate a lot of on-source revenue, once a hole like this is created, there's a problem. And so, Chair, I am ready for any advice on this, but this is my situation with respect to this.
Yeah, I think the reason why I've given you time is that this is a conversation we have had, I think we have had it in a formal sitting, and we have also had it informally. And we have agreed that there needs to be very special focus on this matter. Because if the control of budget, and Gashanja, you'll advise us, had already approved that expenditure, and the money was released, will you approve it again?
No, it can't be approved.
So where will the money come from? That's a crisis now.
Chair, the challenge I have with that argument is, then that argument can also be applied to my other physical pending bills, because all those were released by the controller, but just applied in other ways. So I have a classroom belt, someone given an LSO, kids in the classroom, money already released, but that person not paid, and I didn't inherit money.
Chair.
Okay.
So let me ask this question again.
Senator Maruma, then Senator Sifuna.
Thank you, Chair. Are you saying that for the existing pending bills, there are projects whose money were principal? Is it possible to get that information? What is the principal? Number 3, Chair, these are employees, whether they were working between 17 and 22, when you're not governor, their money was released. When they retire, when they go for their pensions, they need their pensions. They will not understand that they were not working or their money was released but not released to the pension scheme. So are you saying that there's nothing you can do? And if this money was paid for something different, what's the...
Three, please take note. Senator Sifuna.
I think, Chair, for me, the problem is the time that it has taken to have these conversations. Governor, you are in your final year of your term. We have your colleagues who have come here and sat there. They are very junior members of the COG, let alone chairman. But they concluded agreements with CPF years ago, where they waived the penalties and some of the interest, and they agreed on a payment schedule where they're paying monthly or annually. So my disappointment in you, especially as the chair of, and Governor, you have referred us back to that contentious document of yours. My concern is this: you have 113 million in unpaid gratuity for your public servants. And this is a problem for us in the Senate because people who left the service may be retired. They have no time for these stories, especially if I was to share this schedule with them and see how much this hotel called the Grand Oasis. What is it, the name?
Grand Oasis.
Yes.
Have you gone back to that schedule?
Yeah, Chair, it is a question of priorities.
Okay.
Yeah, there are people who do not prioritize Mwananchi. If somebody has retired and they are due gratuity, really those are the people who you should prioritize, and not catering services, accommodation, gifts, food and drinks from that schedule that I was referencing,
Which is 6.5.
which is almost 6 million shillings in tea and mandazi. And you have people who have retired there. They have nothing to eat. So, Governor, it's also a question of priorities. I don't know why you have prioritized KRA, because they can freeze your accounts. I suspect that's the reason. But these, yes, these ones looking for their gratuity. Where can they find you, Governor?
And you see,
okay.
The governor is confessing that the accounts were frozen, and you should prioritize them. Now, these are the guys who have nothing against you. What they have no leverage. I mean,
Fine. I believe this is a matter that is important not just for Wajir. So we'll do specific cases, but also try to look for a global solution.
Chair,
Senator Charity.
Annex 6. Governor, what did you want to prove with this Annex 6? Because I can see there was a principal amount of 47 million, then there was total accrued interest of 14 million. That was on 10 June 2025. I think it is a payment of 458 million, 137,709.7. That is Annex 6. So is it when the OAG queried about 732 million, 615,329 shillings, is this part of it or it is different? Is 458 trying to offset the 732 or what the issue of bluff fund? Can we get that distinction, or you are just, and to emphasize secondly, finally, Chair, is that I thought this issue of statutory deductions, be it KRA, I think, Chair, we had a conversation where we were arguing that if there is late exchequer releases, they should not be penalized by KRA. And I don't know, as the COG Chair, you have had conversation with KRA saying that since there are late exchequer releases, then counties should not and must not be punished over KRA tax penalties. I don't know, as governors, as a governor of Wajir, have you, or as a COG, have ever sat and agree, because it is unfair that counties get late exchequer releases, then they are penalized KRA. So I think, Chair, Governor, if that one has not been on COG agenda, you can put it next time over our names. I think that would be better. I yield back, Chair.
Okay, and Governor, as you respond, I think there's been some conversation that payroll processing, and particularly statutory deductions, be done at the national level. I think there's some conversation about that. And as a Senate, we are concerned that the minute you hand over your payroll to the national government, you have handed over the counties back. But it was for situations like this, where approvals are granted, money is deducted but not remitted. You might also want to comment on that, but start with the issues raised by Senator Mwaruma.
Senator Maruma, the 732 is the principal sum. It doesn't include interest and penalties. So whether for gratuity or the 7.6 for NSSF, and that one I think is being paid now. And this is all for basic, what do you call, principal sums. Number one. Number two.
Sorry, Governor, is that?
And this matter went to court, and we're in court, and we're saying, for us to be able to prioritize the principal sum, because this was something that was mismanaged, and they also didn't do their part to follow and seek for payments or court process on time. We can't be able to find that money all at one go. That's the point I was trying to make.
Governor, Governor,
can I just finish?
No, on that point before you get out of it, because it's a conversation we have had. LAP Fund is right to demand an interest, because that interest is a return on investment on the pensioners. Yeah. So it looks very big, very awkward, but the pensioners also expecting a return on investment on their contributions. So right. you argue against it, then you're arguing against.
And try to see if that can be amortized over equitable share for a longer period. So I think I have answered, unless there's a particular question that. So as to the question Senator Sifuna asked, maybe their negotiations were easier. I don't know what their numbers were, and for how long. Because in my case, we've dug a hole for 25 months. Yeah, so probably if it was less, it's easier to deal with. And probably also they don't have these other huge pending bills on assets verifiable and in use. But I think the contention of the controller, that the controller is not going to release it twice, shouldn't really be there, because they are asking us to pay for the physical assets, and even that was also released and misapplied. So
I think when there was a release, there should not be a further approval.
Governor, can you clarify to me if there's ever been an engagement at COG level with LAP Fund?
Yes, we continue to engage. And even, I think, at the beginning of this month, we have another engagement, I think around the 29th, with the LAP Fund. We've just had an engagement with CPF, where we met in Kwale, discussing this, among other things. There are also issues on their side, Chair, which I shouldn't bring, extraneous issues which I shouldn't bring here. Much as the interest they're asking is high, in this country also there's no law on minimum return to employees. So sometimes also, even in the fund's investment, what the employee gets is very small, much smaller than even the penalty interest. So
because of unremitted contributions, because you only invest what you have.
Yeah, you cannot fault the employees themselves, governors.
Yeah, not the employees. I'm saying the schemes,
the funds,
the funds. In other countries also. Yeah, so I think, Chair, on this one, I mean, much as I'm in this situation, I am a believer that you cannot deduct somebody's money and not remit it.
Chair, you know the question that I asked.
Governor, actually, that is criminal. You asked me. It's actually criminal.
Not really been answered.
No, I mean, it's theft. You're stealing from. You're actually stealing from yourself and stealing from the employees.
Chair,
Senator,
yeah, the question I asked the governor required some empathy, because if you don't put yourself in the shoes of those people who have retired, you will not prioritize the payment of this money, of gratuity. Some people retire when they are rich. Some retire when they are extremely poor. An ECD teacher retiring, going home, and being told that your money was not remitted, and you know the man has retired and has some kids in college or even in school who require also assistance. Now, if you say that money was remitted, was not remitted but deducted and not remitted, so there's nothing you can do, you're not being empathetic enough.
And in fact, Chair, this is why I was pushing the question of time. Governor, we have all been in these offices now for 4 years. Yeah, I am very happy, by the way. I'm proud of this committee. I told you when we started, Chair, we resolved the question of penalties for KRA for you. Correct. Because whereas you run around, some of you saying that devolution is working, that the national government has done better than previous administrations, you're up to date with the remittances. It is not true. In private, you come and cry to us that...
Paid May salaries? Have you paid May salaries?
He has said himself we are behind 2 months.
Yes.
His salaries, yes.
May, you have
Yes.
paid May?
Yes.
You have received your disbursements for May?
Not yet, but I've paid.
Okay.
You see,
Senator Sifuna?
Regardless of whether receipts are received or not, I have, I pay somewhat my salaries on time,
so
including the statutory reduction.
So my point was, those people who are watching us at home, who Senator Mwaruma has described, Governor, in this city, I don't know about Wajir, in this city, if you are unable to pay your rent, they come and lock the door. So you imagine, just 1 month's rent, they remove the mabati from the house and you have to go. Now, you are telling these pensioners that it's an ongoing conversation. 4 years into our term, we're actually going into elections. We've actually started campaigns. I personally have started campaigns. So, what assurance
Point
can we
of
give?
order, Elections Act is very clear on campaign period. So, Senator Sifuna, you might be careful.
Yeah, come and arrest
because
me.
you normally argue.
You
cannot be
know where
saying
to find him.
You know where to find me.
Okay. There's
You can
no
send
problem.
police to my- I've already announced my next rally. You can send them there.
Okay.
But Governor, the point I was making is this: that empathy that he spoke about requires that we expedite these processes. If these other pensions have been able to find agreements with some of your colleagues in the council, just get one meeting and agree with these people. What is the way forward? Withdraw those matters from, because the people are suffering, and that was the point.
Actually, on that bit of empathy, Governor, when you left office in 2017, were you and the team you exited with paid your gratuities?
100%.
100%.
Yes. In fact, I needed it. I went and collected my gratuity.
In 2023, the last elections were 2023. 2022, when you returned to office, was the governor and those who were in office in that period, have they been paid their gratuities?
Not yet. And actually,
why?
And tried to pay, and the controller did not approve, because some of them, I don't want to say who, it's, were in pretty bad situation. And out of empathy, I tried to pay, and the controller said, no, you can't. And Senator Marua, I am the one who's actually arguing.
Maruma, so what would be the challenge? Because you were paid promptly.
Somebody's right. Why would the governor be using empathy to
that
pay?
response is also very suspicious. It's like, I decided, then I said, no, we're not.
No, if he was paid
And Chair, I
No, we
thought
requested, the request was not approved,
Chair,
because
I
for
thought
gratuity.
statutory deductions or employees' issues or statutory deductions are somebody's right. It doesn't depend on empathy. So why is the governor saying empathy?
So, Governor,
and we know very well he didn't leave office. He went for election petition in 2022. So what does he mean? And yet the previous administration paid him on time, but he doesn't want to pay. So the question is, what is the reasoning behind it?
Let me clarify that.
Yes, Governor.
Let me clarify. First, it's not the previous administration that paid me on time.
You paid yourself.
No. Please just let me explain.
Yeah, please explain.
Because both our pensions and our gratuity were with the fund administrators in my time. I made sure that I remitted the funds to the fund administrators. I did not have to talk to my successor. My administration rather had been remitting. Now, here we have a situation where the administration that was in office was not remitting the funds for 25 months, not remit funds for 25 months to the fund administrators.
But deducting.
But deducted. And Senator Marua, why I was clarifying this, it is not me who was saying it's not payable. It's the controller you had saying, once you have remitted this, you can't do it again. The challenge on my side was to sign off on an agreement. Senator and Sifuna, I want to assure you that someone will agree. And before I leave office, I can't clear this amount, but some chunk will be paid to both CPF and LAB fund. But what I'm saying is, because ideally, everybody is with one of the two, either lab fund or CPF. If administrations were disciplined to remit timeously, then this situation should not obtain. That's all I'm saying.
Should therefore the deductions be done at the national level? Because you have a crisis here. You have 5 years of discipline, 5 years of alleged indiscipline. How do we ensure that this matter is sorted out? Because, and I think the controller is right, the money was released. It was diverted to some other purposes. You must find a way of funding that expenditure, perhaps even with interest. So going forward, are we seeing a situation where we are saying county governments have become so indisciplined that they must be supervised by the National Treasury on deductions?
Chair,
The response to that, Governor, just clarify whether that 25 months of non-remittance is for all the employees, including for the governor himself.
Chair, as I said, the Wajir case is probably, with respect to the pending bill situation, was the worst of all worlds. There are also other counties, governors who, when they came into office, inherited as little as 15 million shillings or 50 million shillings of pending bills. So whether we should change the law just because of a few bad situations, I think that that's a matter for all of us, not only for me, because the architecture does not allow currently the setup of the PFM architecture a mechanism for national government to deduct money at source without first hitting the CRF.
Well, they did it with MES, you remember?
Right. At MES, it was a book entry in a sense. You know, they were like saying they allocated us X as conditional grant, but it wasn't really part of the equitable share in a sense. So it was like a donation. We've made a donation to you, and you know we're keeping it up in the air. Sort of that was what it was, how I understood it. But there is no mechanism really for that to happen, for Treasury to decide we're not remitting a part of your equitable share. One thing that has now happened in the last, I think, 1 month, from April, which is a plus and a minus at the same time, is that the payroll is now being handled through IFMIS, right? The HRS, the Integrated Human Resource System, is now been integrated with, the module has been integrated with IFMIS. So salaries have to be paid through IFMIS just like everything else, individually to the employee. The downside of that is when, as Senator Sifuna says, there are delays in disbursements and releases, then the utilization of the soft banking arrangements that some counties use to pay salary becomes difficult, because the banks can't be the ones paying the employees' money through IFMIS. IFMIS only accepts, it's only integrated to the county operational and development account. So it becomes more difficult actually to get banking help, right? So as to the question of how this is handled, I think, Chair, it's a question of the control environment. It's a question of also timely audits and timely oversight and timely action, I think. Because if we were to go the route of deducting that at the source, remember, even the pending bills that I'm being crucified about here have to do with money that has actually left the CRF account, has been released by the controller, but was misapplied, or there was an over-budgeting of expenditure above the budget. Because if there is no mechanism for county governments to be in deficit, county governments must stick to their budget. And if there are overshots because of a disaster or something, then that should be something that can be managed within the next budget or something like that. If a disaster happens or something. But it shouldn't be something that cannot be absorbed by the next regime. Because when you have 7 billion or 5 billion of pending bills and all the money was released and utilized, I think, Senator Moro, you also have to be a bit empathetic with me.
Well, and all these are offenses committed by the team that you lead. Honorable members, how do we get away out of this? Because all these are instances of poor financial management in counties. There's a specific case of Wajir, but it cuts across. Now, there has to be a solution. So Wajir, the first 5 years are doing the right thing. The second 5 years, they're doing the wrong thing. The next 5 years, they're doing the right thing. The next 5 years, you don't know what's going to happen. You've got employees. They are looking at the Senate and all these institutions to come up with a solution. I am not hearing a solution. I am hearing a detailed description of the problem.
I think for me, Chair, there should be certain consequences. I think where we are failing as a nation is the consequence part. How is it conscionable for you to preside over an administration that deducts money from employees? Don't remit, then you tell us you also don't have a solution. Even criminal sanctions should follow such people. I mean, it's unconscionable. They come to our offices here, Chair, at KICC, and they are in bad shape. They come to cry in our offices, and we can't just say there's nothing to do. I think there should be criminal consequences for CEOs who do that you deduct money and you don't remit. And then the COB says they can't release twice. I mean, those are the conversations we should be having, Governor, at COG level, at the Senate level, and we're willing and ready to help. For as long as you don't see us enemies, we can sit and talk about these things. But for me, I think there should be some level of responsibility, criminal responsibility for people who are doing these things.
Senator Chirarke?
Maybe, Chair, I agree with the Nairobi Senator that if this money was released and the governor has described this in detail what happened and also the reluctance of COB, which we agree with, not to release money that had already should have been remedied, this was a pure theft. And I think, in my own opinion, certain consequences, including investigations and prosecution, and I'm happy, I don't know whether ESCC are here with us. I think anybody found culpable, then and now, because the Constitution under Article 2265 is very clear that you should be held accountable while or even after you leave office. So there is no expiry or reflection of criminal liability if somebody took the people's money, the staff of Wajir. And Governor, we cannot be sympathetic with you because you have already received your gratuity in them. So sympathy will not be there today.
Yeah.
So what I'm just saying in simple, Governor, and we agree with the criminal enterprise of stealing from the employees, they must be investigated and prosecuted. I think ESCC is normally with us. They just pick it up so that as we pursue for a resolution on this matter, somebody in this country, Chair, we should punish the issue of corruption to be as rare as a snowball in hell, so that somebody cannot walk into a public office, steal, get away with it, go to Santorini, and enjoy their lives as if nothing is happening, Mr. Speaker. I know Senator Sifuna does not know where Santorini is, but I will share with him. It's one of the exotic places.
Okay, members, looking at the time, we just have 20 minutes, so let's be conscious. Senator Wambua.
So, Chair, on the same note, Governor, the truth of the matter is the people of Wajir, especially those who are already retired, they are out of the payroll, definitely are expecting that because you are appearing today, there will be a solution or a way forward to their issues. It's easy to say it wasn't me. It's an easy thing to say, but for that mama, for that old man who worked tirelessly to make Wajir County what it is today, and they are at home now with nothing. And the only thing we can do here is to say their former governor did not remit their deductions for 25 months. They already know that. what hope, what exactly is it that your government is doing to ensure that those people, in a way, you reduce their suffering? It's first of all, you agree with me, it's criminal. It's really a very bad thing for a governor to deduct money from employees and not remit. It's a criminal act. So what exactly are you doing before the ESCC comes for you or for whoever it is that they have to come for? What exactly are you doing for, about those people?
Chair, you know, I'm not an accountant, but is it not possible to know if some money came, like 200 million, a receipt from Treasury for paying salaries, plus gratuity and everything? If the salaries were paid at net and the remittances were not made, is it not possible to know where that money went to and who misappropriated? I think it's possible to know. Because then if you have received money this month and you've paid the employees and the money that is deducted, say 20 million, was not remitted, we should know where that money went to and the person who misappropriated that money. And number two, Chair, we should be able as an oversight body to direct the county to pay this money. First of all, any payable should serve as a first charge, as a priority charge on any receipt. Why can't we direct that this also happens for this money?
Yeah, Governor, I think you have seen the mood of the Senate, that these are issues that we want to engage on positively because they impact on the lives of the very people we rely on for service delivery. Having described the problem, what do you put as the action you're going to take individually as a governor of Wajir and broadly as the leader of the team of governors?
Chair, that it's a criminal offense. Everything we have discussed here with respect to pending bills is a criminal offense. Because not only for the statutory, I keep repeating, even for those classrooms that people are threatening to close, the money was released, not applied appropriately. And it's easy to blame the governors, but even the governor himself, his gratuity was not paid. So this is, and of course, the tone at the top and everything is important, but I think there were officers who are in these roles, in HR, in finance, in procurement, who ought to have known better. And all these reports are everywhere. They are with Senate, they are with ESCC, they are all over. I mean, there's nothing confidential about them. That's one. Two, so it's budget indiscipline, Senator Wambua. It's budget indiscipline. You know, people are just issuing LSOs left, right, and center. They committed more than they budgeted for. Some were done, some weren't done, right? There even some that were paid which weren't done. All these is in all these reports, you know, and as I've said, I've given